Cuba, it's me! Welcome to episode 159 of The Willu Show, which stands for Wrestling is Life. Life is Wrestling. Now, today on my show, I want to talk about the times that being a fan of wrestling or being a wrestler have gotten me into trouble, and I got quite a few of these, so I'm going to do it a couple episodes. This is going to be part one. So I'm going to go take it back to my school days. I remember, one time I was friends with Travis Fleming, and he ended up being called Travis Finley. And I was good friends with him. I went to elementary school with him, and then middle, and then or junior high and high school. And so what happened is we went camping a lot. With my family and my parents, we went camping quite often, like 2-3 times a summer. And when they first came out, they got one of those tents, one of those big tents that had two rooms, so you could zip it up. So we had two separate chambers in the tent. So it was an expensive tent. Well, anyway, Travis invited me for his birthday party. He had a bunch of guys over, and we wanted to sleep outside. And somehow my mom was talking to his mom, or something got along, where she said, "Well, I got this big tent. It would be great for all the boys." So when I went to the sleepover at Travis's house there on Perkins Road, um, we got this big giant tent, and all the kids were in it. So we were. I don't know if this is grade 6 or 7, maybe even grade 5. But so a bunch of us boys were being rowdy, and we got this tent with two rooms. It was enough to fit everybody comfortably. But we were having pizza and pop, and we were all, energetic. It's a sleepover. You get to stay up later. It's a weekend and everything. So we decided to have a Royal Rumble in the tent. And we were getting carried away, and we weren't just being gentle. We were being pretty aggressive. And somehow or another, one of us got thrown through the tent and made a huge hole in the tent. Needless to say, my mother was not very happy with me at all, and she still rolls her eyes when I talk about this incident. They were not pleased with this whatsoever. Another time, also involving Travis, I got a lot of great memories with Travis, and whatever happened to that Adam Phillips. But anyway, so Travis, this was in grade 7. We moved on to the junior high school, and they call it like a mezzanine or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. It was just like a big rec room, and the amateur wrestlers would practice there and stuff like that, and they do the amateur wrestling. And I was on the grade 7 amateur wrestling team. But anyways, for some reason they were having some kind of coaching thing during the day, and they actually had the amateur wrestling mats set up there during lunch hour. Well, knowing me and my friend Aaron and Travis was around and a bunch of other people, and we're like, oh, perfect. So we started. There was a lot of people in there, but a few of us got together and we were doing wrestling moves on each other. And what happened was, I can't remember who it was, but I know Travis picked up this kid and tried to tombstone him on the amateur wrestling mat. And maybe I shouldn't be laughing because I don't remember. I remember that the kid was very hurt and the ambulance was called, and we all got in a lot of trouble, and there was like a big thing, no more wrestling at school or something like that. Oh man. But yeah, he literally injured him on a tombstone. And then the next one was around grade 7 or 8 or 9, around that time. I used to clip people. Now in my grade 9 yearbook, because I went 7, 8, and 9 at Phoenix, so I went 3 years at this one school, I even put my favorite memories of Phoenix was clipping people. Now what clipping people meant was, I wasn't super popular, but I wasn't like a super loser either. I was kind of in the middle. I knew a lot of people, got along with most people, but was never like the cool kid or anything. But so I'd stay away from the tough guys unless they were like my known friend or anything. But anyone that I was friendly with or I thought was just a nice person, I would clip them. I'd do run-by clippings. And what that was, I would just run by and give them like a wrestling, like a double axe handle or something, like gentle, like not hard or anything. And that was my thing. Everyone knew me as the guy that clipped people. I'd run by and be like, "Da!" And I'd make these funny sound effects, or "Da!" And then, so anyway, I clipped someone that I shouldn't have clipped, and needless to say, I got called to the principal's office, and I had to have a talk, and shouldn't be running in the halls anyway, because I would always run away. Like, they just see the back of my head as they got clipped. I'd try and sneak up on them and clip them when they weren't looking or in the middle of a conversation. I even clipped girls. I clipped girls. So the next one was, there was this kid, Jeremy Shinkowitz, and nobody like our group wasn't like really big friends with him, and I feel bad for this now because bullying is bad, but because if you're not friends with somebody and you're like having fun with them, they may think you're bullying them. They don't know. And but anyway, me and Aaron, there's a couple other guys I just remember, and we were we decided to gang up on Jeremy. Like we're not hurting him, but just play wrestling him, and like we were just wrestling moves on him, very gentle, like not hurting him, but he had had enough. He didn't want anymore, so that kind of egged us on to keep going. And I remember like there's a couple benches by the lockers and stuff, and I'd get up and give him the double axe handle, and other people were pretending to give him kicks to the gut and like, but like being nice about it. But he didn't want any part of it, and I got an in-school suspension on this one, which is like a suspension without being sent home, because I remember they called my dad and they're like, you got to come pick up your son. He's been suspended, and then he was like, I'm not coming to pick him up. He's your problem now. So that was the fourth one. The fifth one was I think it's Mr. Robertson's class. I just know it was the class where it was like me, Shay, Grady, and Travis were all together in this class, and it was before class, so I don't think the teacher was there. But Shay was a tough dude, but he was my friend, and we got along. We always played hockey after school and stuff, and we've been to a couple birthday parties together. We used to go to Discovery together and stuff. And we decided to have a mercy fight, right? So Shay's killing me, but like I'm not a strong person and I'm not like a good fighter or anything, but I'm like pretty tough. Like I won't give up. Like I'm like I got a lot of courage, or maybe dumbness, whatever you want to call it. So we're having this mercy fight, and Shay's like owning me and like slamming me into the desks and chairs. But I remembered what I learned in wrestling. I saw Bret Hart do the thing where he did a back roll, and then he came up to his feet, and then he had the pressure. So I was trying that. Needless to say, a couple of people that came early to class were watching this debacle go on and watching us smash all the chairs, and it was pretty funny, but we got in trouble for that as well. So that's going to be my first five. Yeah, so it was the Travis, the Jeremy Shinkowitz thing, the Shay thing, and clipping people. So that's the first 5 times I got in trouble. So I've been suspended about wrestling in school at like 3 times. See, and the first 6 grades in elementary school, I got like straight A's, and I barely ever got in trouble. But things change when you combine a bunch of elementary school kids together, and you find other kids that like wrestling, and you get to be a teenager and grow little pubes and stuff like that. But so these are my first 5. I'm gonna do a couple parts of the series, but this is part 1 of the times when wrestling got me in trouble in real life. And just remember, on the Willow Show, like, or you get a leg drop, comment, or you get a clothesline, subscribe, or you get a suplex. I'm your host, Elian Habanero. I love wrestling. Cuba!